Yeah, I too I go someplace with that sound. And for me it is, I believe, so therefore it is, my heritage of my grandmother was a large percentage of Native American Indian. And so that really resonates with me. And so here we are. Stuck on principle. What do you think of when you hear that? Stuck on principle. Does a song, I'm not going to sing again. Does a song come to mind? There's one that calls Stuck on You. There's Stuck on You. So that's kind of my concept behind the title. So there's a little seed for you to think about for a moment. So throughout my life, I was told over and 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 over again, Michael, stick to your principles. Which was followed by, Michael, you know what is right for you. It doesn't matter what the neighbors think, or what they tell you, or what they call fun, or even what they term acceptable. Or even what people think of you. Stick to your principles. And so I've carried these words with me, this parental wisdom, and have heard them in my mind and my heart over and over again through the many decisions that I have made. And this is what I have learned. The principles of life are our foundations for living. And I know that there are two types of principles for this morning's consideration. Personal, which I just talked about, and spiritual. Personal and spiritual principles. So let's begin with the personal. So personally, each has our own set, don't we? You and I get to play out our principles every time we engage in any experience, like coming here. We get to let them play out. And when we interact with other people, that's part of that interaction. Coming in the front door, there's such a happy, joyous, hi, nice to see you interaction. And then there's the kind of interactions and principles that say, you know, I'll show you mine when you show me yours. Because there are reactions that happen when we meet people. And I often wonder why, where'd that come from? You know, how did that reaction or perception, or in the meditation there was talk to the point of judgment of something or someone. So all of these are based, I believe, on our personal principles. Tonight I traveled to the state of Georgia for the annual get-together with my two sisters to interact with them. And believe me, things do show up. How many have a sibling or 2 or 5 or 20? So, in-laws, all of that, family dynamic. And so one of our basic requirements or principles is to have fun, to just be with each other, and to honor each other's, shall I say, uniqueness. And this is my annual sibling toast that I do every time. Whatever we're having, whether it's water or another adult beverage, I'll say, here's to 2013, this year's annual sibling dysfunction. Now, why do I do that? Because it gives us permission to discover, discuss, and dismiss. D-I-S. Dysfunction. Dysfunction and dysfunction. function. So we get to discover what those functions are first. We get to discuss what they mean. And we get to dismiss the victim they may contain. So discover, discuss, and dismiss. Being a professional minister, I bring in some of my ways, if you will, my facilitating ways to my family. And they're kind of on guard, because they know what I'm doing. But it allows us then to be free enough to play, to be honest, to say, name that dysfunction. That's a game we play. Name that dysfunction. Point it out in me. Oh, you're doing that thing again. Okay, you're right. Let's talk about it. No, we don't talk about it. Okay. So we discuss it and find out what it means. And what I've come to know about all of this so far is that we are living our personal principles in every moment. We're living them. Some of us are enjoying them more than others. And they're made to have fun, you know. According to St. Webster, principle is a primary source or an origin. So it's part of our origin. Our personal principles are original and deeply personal to each one of us. Why not celebrate that? Why judge it as bad? I judge it as fun, as in dysfunction. Fun. Now, your personal principles may be similar to mine in lots of ways, but like fingerprints, there's no two alike. That's why it's fun to find out what they are, for me. Because we're all different, we're all unique, we're all doing our personal best to cope with who we are. Now let's move on to the spiritual principle side of this partnership. A spiritual principle refers to God as in a divine principle. And unlike our personal principles, spiritual principles never change. And in this very basic spiritual truth, we are alike. At this level, we are the same. And here's how. In this teaching, The Science of Mind, it defines principle as the study of the principle of being. And those are with capital letters. And in this teaching, whatever's in a capital letter means a higher level of thinking, the spiritual realm. The source or cause from which a thing results is a principle. A truth which is unchangeable. And here it is. We first understand a principle, find out what it is, and then relate it to our problem for a final test. So that unchanging principle that is behind everything never changes. What changes is how we view it. And that's what shows up. Sounds like treatment is needed here. How many know what treatment is? How many you had example of it this morning. It's a way of moving our individual thinking process into a more spiritual principle realm. Gets us back to right thinking, capital R. Not judgment, but spiritual right. Spiritual principles are universal, and in this teaching called Science of Mind, guess what? We get to use our mind to get back to that unchangeable truth. First, we must begin this change by being open to the greater good of this thing we call God, or divine wisdom, of eternal loving kindness. And that loving kindness awaits our recognition of it. It's unchangeable.